So a tough one awaiting the winner in the next round, but really this in itself is a tough one for both of them. And it's AJ MANAS to start us off.
I watched the cue ball. I was about to say good signs with the one dropping, but the cue ball into the right side, ball in hand, out of the gate for Ferrer. And it did not catch a piece of the 9, so that was 2 rails direct.
Yeah, I mentioned he won a ranking event. Literally just came out of nowhere, not someone we're familiar with at all on the World 9-Ball Tour. He won one of the smaller ranking events in Hanoi just over a fortnight ago. And you know, we always talk about those events and we say smaller ranking events, and it makes it sound like it was almost easy to win it. But you look at the lineups for those tournaments and you look at some of the players you have to get past to win, including AJ MANAS, who he actually beat on his way to that title.
That don't play a role. They always do. It's in the back of the player's mind. Not that it's going to make a difference, but it is there. So I don't see a lot of trouble here, Michael.
So he beat the experienced 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥𝐢 in that final in Hanoi. He was 12-7 up. That got pegged back to 12-10, but he got his chance in the next rack. Potted a 2 along the side of the table and then had a routine 3-9 combination and then punched the air in delight, and a little bit of relief as well because he had been staring at the growing prospect of losing from having been so far in front. And the remarkable thing about that final, you know, when you talk about winning the safety battles, you expect it to be the experienced player, but actually it was the quality of Ferrer's safety that really was such a key to winning that final earlier this month in Vietnam.
Yeah, eerily similar, these two players. Very quick on the ball, maybe a little too quick there. The 8 impeding the cue just a bit. Here's a very good look. Going to the side pocket, and that's a big-time shot in game number 1. Great recovery. Notice how clean the 7 drops there. That does tell us a little bit about how he's feeling.
Yeah, out on the main table at the World Championship against someone who actually has a good deal more experience than he does of playing in this sort of environment. And Ferrer looks totally unfazed by it. Oh, and just as I say that, well, he did leave himself a slightly more difficult 9 than anticipated, but boy, we didn't see him missing that.
He slightly raised up on the 8, and why the cue ball fell short. Overcut, but typically with the cleaner balls and the conditions, if they miss the ball, it's typically thin.
You've still always got to pot that 9, haven't you, to get over the line, no matter how well you've played and how good you've looked in the rack.
Behind him, he looked a little off in the facial expression. This kid here never gives us anything. And there's a really clean break, went directly into the 9 as he'd liked. Now, the green 6 going to cause a little bit of a problem, and I don't know if the rollout's realistic in this position. And it's not. He is going to the air. Big rewards here. If he can get the blue down, it might carry. Otherwise, I guess you could go with the 9. And that's what he tried to do, is go at the 9, but the backup is the distance with the cue ball, and that is not the end of the world. This is long and straight. So he was trying to clip a piece of the 9 here.
Yeah, if you're wondering what Scott's talking about in terms of going at the 9, if you're not familiar with 9-ball, and we know for these big events we get some casual viewers and newcomers to the game. Basically, the winner of the rack is whoever pots the 9-ball, but you don't necessarily have to pot all the other balls first, so long as you hit the lowest numbered ball remaining on the table first. If that then is used as a way of getting to the 9 and potting it, you can win the rack that way.
And I like his decision there. Just caught a piece of the point with the cue ball in the side pocket. Otherwise, I think he's even better. MANAS can use the 8 and 6 here. Yeah, notice the 3. Not in the greatest of positions, even though the 9 is there. Don't let that fool you. Nothing easy about a 3-9 combination, really, from anywhere. I wouldn't expect him to take this bank on. I think you can use the 5. He's trying to. It's lengthened out on him quite a bit. This aggressively to the top right by any means. Cue ball going away from the 3 if you do. But he's aggressive, you never know.
These two are among 17 players from the Philippines in the field, most of any nation.
Actually, a couple of good innings right there. I really like what MANAS did, just rolling the 2 up behind the 6 and 8. And then Ferrer, a nice kick and hold on the blue too. So, a couple of really good innings. And the speed looks absolutely ideal here. Kind of a game of cat and mouse right now. Like I said, the 3 really in a funny position. Don't let the 9 fool you like something is easy over there, because it is definitely not easy. It did just become a little easier now in a bigger ball position, now that the 9 is not frozen. Yeah, he still wants to play this 3 rail first, just a tick. You cannot shoot it straight on. The 9 will not go. So this is not easy. Tough to judge from this distance. Michael, he chose to go straight playing rail first, which I felt like was a little bigger pocket going the rail first version.
Yeah, and raising his hand there in acknowledgement of the good fortune he's had in terms of leaving his opponent hooked on the 3. It's a bit of good fortune, which in the end has yielded an opportunity for MANAS. About 2 years ago, I think we really started to become aware of MANAS in a big way on the international stage. He actually got to a ranking final right at the end of 2023 when he was only 16 in Singapore. It was 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥𝐢 who beat him. He's been to the last 32 of the Hanoi Open and almost went further, losing Hill to Carlo Beato in a really thrilling match, one of the best matches of that tournament, really.
actually very similar to one P.S. Labutus. Once down on the ball, does not stroke the cue really at all, just addresses the cue ball and fires. I've seen him at times, I think maybe his nemesis at times under the gun. The older he gets, maybe a little more time he'll take over the cue ball, but it's what makes him the player he is as well.
Goes in, so 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥 prestige events. 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥 will doubtless feature in many of those over the years, and he leads 2-0 here.
All right, the one was short, maybe a touch thin, but the cue ball tells me it wasn't, so just a little bit of a miss hit. The spread wasn't there either. A bit off. He really got into the cue ball. It wasn't a real thick hit, so might have caught him a bit thin, still dug into it. It's kind of like 2 games in a row handed to MANAS, but a little bit of help from Ferrer.
Yeah, put it this way, Ferrer could have been 2-0 up himself.
I don't see any reason to have to go forward here. Really just come out 2 rails with out and above the purple 5. He didn't. Well, it reached out well.
I guess a big factor, Scott, just looking at that prize money graphic we saw a minute ago, it's so much more than these players are used to playing for week in, week out, and indeed even in previous years. So a big factor in your chances of doing well here is how much you can put that out of your mind, which is so hard to do because ultimately everyone's trying to earn a living, and this is a bigger chance, a much bigger chance than you get for the rest of the year to, well, effectively make your year's salary in one go.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happens when you're somebody like Ferrer-Gorst, right? Don't think it wasn't on his mind last year, but once you get past that and win a major event, then that really just kind of disappears. To Michael's point, for these young guys, they have to kind of come out of the gate like that, because the minute they start thinking about the money, it can really tighten that back arm up. He's got work to do here. I think he's got to run into the 9.
Yeah, is this going to be another rack that looked to be heading his way and ends up slipping away from him? Tense moments, these.
Watch the scratch from behind. He's going to go forward here. Wants to catch a piece of it coming out, I believe. Yeah, just does not look settled, and I've not seen him play. See it in the body.
We say it so often, though, don't we? Players who aren't used to playing on the main table, they might look fine at first, but once they miss one, it really seems to get in their head, much more than it might do on one of the outside tables. And perhaps that's what's happening here.
Yeah, and he's missed it to the thin side again, like the 9 in game number 1.
Oh, but when your opponent is maybe struggling a bit mentally, you've got to make him pay for it. MANAS did not do that there. Ferrer, although this hasn't fallen too kindly for him, at least still breathes in this 3rd rack.
Yeah, can he get enough in behind the 9 to hold the cue ball right there? Kick and stick, we call it. He'd love to. Oh boy, I don't know. I do not know. I think they called it okay. Yeah, it looked good. Great call, actually. Is this going to fall? Just holds up. This is exactly what Ferrer needed.
Well, you have to say, any of the possible scores you could have after 3 racks were very possible, given the way these racks have played out. So Ferrer should have won the first, might have won the second, and eventually has won the third. MANAS now leads 2-1. Look at his break, so tell us about it, Scott.
Well, he's got a ball down, I believe, but the one was very short. It's not what he's looking for, unless he's playing the wing ball. We have not seen that, really, so far in the first day or so. Yeah, he's gotten a kiss off the 8, or excuse me, off the 6, making the 8. And a tester out of the gate distance in your practice room. This is fairly easy, but here he's got to probably run into the 6 or the 2. Or both.
I think anything's easy in the practice room here. It's the finest practice room you will see anywhere. Yeah, we were talking during the break there. So I was calling him Ferrer, and you were calling him Ferrar. Now I'm basing that on Albert Ferrer, the old Chelsea player from years ago, who I'm sure you know. But you have told me you have actually done some research on it, and you've been assured it's pronounced Ferrar, so that's what we're going to go with. Of course, it lends itself to a wonderful nickname. He could become known as Alexis Ferrari in years to come.
Yeah, one of the producers actually came up to me, because I actually asked him how to pronounce the name, so he went over to one of the managers of Ferrar and came back with the information. Now we are only doing what we're told. Going behind the 4 and 5 here, I would assume. Well, he might have left a gap. It's close. If not, the jump cue is definitely doable here. Only going over a piece of the purple 5. Yeah, he's leveled out, so he's got a clean look. That's a big error. And so is this, Michael.
Yeah, again, I think when we come to these big events with new viewers, and particularly those watching in the UK, might be used to snooker and might wonder what we're talking about when it comes to jumping over balls. Well, you can do it in this game. And of course, the players have jump cues, and they have got more advanced over the years, and they spend a lot of time practicing that specific part of the game. And for a lot of players, it's a huge weapon to have if they're good at it. I can tell you it's increasingly likely now that whoever wins this will play the UK Open champion 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐻 of Singapore in the next round, because he's really turned it around and is now on the hill at 8-5 against Quang Nam Pham of Vietnam.
Yeah, I gotta wonder how close these two are. Obviously, both from the Philippines, both very familiar with one another's games. Sometimes you just kind of feed off of one another. It almost feels like that's what's happening right now.
I do know they've played each other quite a bit in recent times. I was looking around this morning. They have met recently on a number of occasions, including that quarter-final in the ranking event in Hanoi.
Yeah, what a big shot that was. Could that be a moment that sets the tone, really gets him feeling well? It's always one shot within a rack or within a match that gets you going. Makes you just kind of loosen up. Very intense player, Alexis.
Well, how quickly things can change. Even allowing for the break we had after the last rack. It's only 7 or 8 minutes ago that it looked like he might be heading 3-0. And here he is now, level at 2-all. Dace. Early stages of this one, 2-all. And another look at the break of Ferrer.
Okay, better adjustment there. Getting the 1 down. And he's going to have a look at the 2. You'll see the 3 up in the top left as well. Can he go into the 7 now? I don't know if the path is clear up and down. Here's a look. He sneaks the 1 in low. Oh, he's held it very well. Very well. Anywhere center table is fine. You don't have to try to get any closer. Eerily similar styles between these two, really, once down on the ball. A little more mechanical is Ferrer.
With so many good players from the Philippines, would you, Scott, as a keen observer of the game and its technicality, say there's any such thing as a Philippines style that's particularly common? Or are they as mixed and diverse as anywhere else?
It's a good question. It's definitely changed from the Efren era, the Efren Reyes era, in my opinion. You know, you had Bustamante with that long, loopy, loose stroke, and then Efren with the pump. And I think it's changed quite a bit since then, but I don't think anybody's really set the tone for styles over there.
They do play each other so often. There's such an active pool scene in the Philippines with all the best players, and boy, are there plenty of those playing each other on a regular basis. Of course, they'll have a chance to shine in a big international event in their own land, in the Philippines Open. And that is added to the calendar later in the year for the first time. And something else that looks like it's about to happen for the first time is Ferrer leading in this match. And it feels at the moment, Scott, like with every passing shot, he's settling in a little more.
Yeah, you almost feel like MANAS didn't quite take advantage when it was
3 Rex, 2-2.
Okay, that's the cleanest. I've seen the 1 go to the side. He's made great adjustments there. Where does the 3 end up? It's in a bad position because he is covered on the blue 2. And this is a spot where I think you've got to roll out. These young guys, you can never really tell. They're so aggressive and so talented.
Push out called.
Got a pretty bad flick there. I like this rollout. Testing MANAS, kind of preemptive there. Maybe a little bit of a 2-way where he can roll this down into the lower left and has cover if he doesn't get it down. Just because of where the 6 and 4 are. I think he's got a bit of an angle as a backup safety. Oh, he's going to let Alexis back to the table. Yeah, I think it kind of got away from him. I think he was trying to shoot the 2 away and avoid the 9, sending the 2 up table. Just caught it too heavy. Gonna like his next look, I don't believe. Should be welded to the back of the 7. Well, he's got the 7 first with the 2. I mean, that was pretty much a layup as far as the safety.
MANAS ultimately looking to get through to single elimination for the second year in a row in the World Championship. Started last year with a hill finish that he came through against Canada's John Morra and then beat the 2019 runner-up Chang Yong-lin, who obviously we've been talking about this week, in winners qualification. So 2 fine wins, but then played Alexander Kazakis and lost 11-1 in the last 64, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, I think he's forced to go airborne here. Kind of hope for the best. Just make solid contact. You do have a little bit of a wall. Now, which way do you go? Do you just chip the 2 below the 6, 7, and 4? And he went this route. I think this leaves a little better hit if he didn't leave the gap. Wow. The gap was there. I'm a little surprised MANAS didn't chip the 2 underneath those balls and come down behind the 8 in that direction. Like to get the 2-9 combination moving.
Did get the 2 moving.
Is he thinning the left side of the blue here? Got to catch this real thin. That's going to work. It's really going to work. That's kind of what I want MANAS to do earlier. Now he's putting himself in this situation.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that Ferrer's safety was so impressive in that event in Hanoi in the final against Chang Yulong.
Yeah, really good effort right there. Really good effort. I mean, right on the money. I think if the speed's just a little firmer. Great look. Just edging this ball, or is he going at it? I don't believe it's got a corner pocket. To the top left anyway. Going to the top right now. Yeah. Yeah, I think this angle might be misleading us. He's snookered.
Yeah, the overhead tells a much truer picture, doesn't it? And as a result of that, he's left a bit of an opening. MANAS needs to get something going again. Wouldn't say by any means to lead 2-0, but he was at least in front in the match and he's gone a bit off the boil. Hasn't really settled in himself yet.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a scruffy match so far. Just easy to set the expectations a little too high because they're so talented, but they are human. They are on the biggest stage. And they are the same countrymen. Nice combination there.
Yeah, and even just a moment like that, we've just seen from MANAS, might be what he needs to begin. Bit of a turnaround. So should have got to 3 some time ago, before his opponent has got a single rack on the board. Oh, but hang about. Well, wherever he intended to put it, I don't think it was there.
Well, this is kind of what I was touching on, Michael, where sometimes he'll get down on the ball and just pull the trigger real quick. You know, if he takes an extra split second, things change, but sometimes it causes him problems.
Still managed to retain position on the 8 anyway, and now it's a routine 9. So MANAS, after losing 3 in a row, takes that one. Draws level 9 racks to 5. So he now awaits the winner of this match between AJ MANAS and Alexis Ferrer, and that's level at 3-all as MANAS breaks in the 7th.
Oh, watch the 9. And this is doable, and this is a fun shot to watch. You can suck the cue ball with like a low left towards the 9. It's not something you want to overhit. So speed is real important here. Just really let the cue ball work towards the 9 with a low left ball. Oh, he's fluked the 2, Michael, and a 3-9.
So makes the early finish in the end. Almost got the golden break. Had a go at it on the next shot, making the combination. Didn't happen, but he was never likely to miss that one. So in just 3 shots, MANAS has taken that, and all of a sudden, he's back in front. Let's look at that again. I've always thought, you know, we have the golden break, Scott, where you win the rack by potting the 9 on the break. Well, how about breaking?
And the 6 collided off of the 9, but look at the spread once again. Cue ball low. 1 went just high of the side, catching the point. Just when I figured that he's got the break down. Another rack that the layout just isn't traditional. He's going up top with the rollout here. That needs to run. Yeah, he's left in the corner pocket a little bit easier now. I'm not sure what he can do with the 2. I don't know how straight he is either. Can he just pull the cue ball back a little bit here? He's leveled out, so going forward. Actually, a great strike. I don't feel like he got rewarded as well as he should have been. Now kind of a bit of a dilemma. If he goes forward, playing the 2 in the lower right corner, the problem is the black 8's going to send the cue ball towards the purple 5. Can you cut it into the right side and avoid the 7? That needs to get a rail. It wasn't even close.
We talked about body language earlier. You could see from his reaction and the way he got up out of the shot, he knew straight away what a mess he'd made of that. And having led by 2 racks early on in the match, then fallen behind, all of a sudden MANAS has a chance here to go 2 clear again at a much more advanced stage of the contest.
guess maybe I'd just like to see a little more consistency as far as the pace once he's down on the ball. Sometimes he's real quick, sometimes he takes a little more time. And now he's at the 50-yard line. Does the 9 play in the left? That really makes a difference. See the shake of his head. Might have to show us one here. It does play. Thinner than it looks.
Well, that was his chance, wasn't it, to really reassert himself. Would have been 3 in a row, would have been a couple clear again. And still might be, because this isn't a gimme for Ferrer, but he'll be very grateful to have any sort of a chance in a rack that he looked as though he was going to lose.
Yeah, and the 9, it looked like it could play it in the side if you're MANAS, but it was actually much thinner than it looked. Got to stay still here in the body.
One of those shots that was a good deal tougher than it perhaps in front of us, with a chance to level that one. It is level here, 4-all.
No, he squeezed the one in, but the cue ball has gone loose and low again. Ball in hand for MANAS. Oh, he's got to flick off the bottom of the 9, and this will happen. If you catch the bottom side, it'll go one rail in the corner. If you catch the top side, it can oftentimes go one rail into the side. They want to catch the 9 flush.
There's just no momentum for either player. I mean, even when Ferrer won those 3 racks in a row, it's not as if he was sweeping through them.
Yeah, it's been scratchy at best, to be honest. But I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, they're both young. They both know each other quite well. Big history already at such a young age. Just steer clear of the 8. Never an issue.
When we're getting towards the end of racks in this match, we don't want to take anything for granted because we've seen them both stumble coming towards the winning line at different times, but AJ MANAS has taken these very efficiently and very swiftly, so he goes $250,000 for his efforts this time last year, well, just over a year ago, playing for that again, and of course the prestige title of champion of the world. That's all a long way off. This is first round action. MANAS, as I said, one in front here. How's this turned out, Scott?
And not the best again. Cue ball low. Did get the 1 down. But boy, the layouts have not been friendly. Is he looking to just edge this towards the 7? All things considered, I don't think it's terrible, that's for sure. Could have a go at the 3-7. I can't tell how far the 7 is off the rail, but if it's just off the rail, it's definitely makeable. Problem is the cue ball is going to come flying up and down. There is traffic. Yeah, I don't believe he intended on making the 7 there. Fortunate he did not get behind the 5 and the 4. This does play to the lower left. Position is not guaranteed.
So many good players on his way to winning that ranking event in Hanoi a couple of weeks ago. Marvin Assis, who's here today, was one of them. So was Anton Raga in a hill finish. And others like Long Duc Tien, Patrick Gonzalez. The quarterfinal against MANAS. And for our semi-final win came against Woo Kun Lin, who's been to the semis of this World Championship a couple of times before he just managed to hold on against Cheng Yu Lung in the final.
Yeah, tricky here. Ford did beat the left side pocket. It's down low. I don't think he can spin one rail towards it. Going to the jump cue. He's eyed it down like he's going to play it in the lower left. Boy, triple tough. Yeah, work left to do. He was definitely playing this. Just caught it heavy. Good hit. Yeah, want to get a little straighter. 6 at the bottom of the table here. Might be forced to come 3 rails unless he thinks he can punch twice. Punching twice is a little bit more realistic as far as making the ball. Or can he hold? Got into the low end of the cue ball a little bit more than he'd intended. I think you've got to feather the left side of this and use the 9. All right, he might be drawing towards the 8.
Right in front of us, Albin Ocean has won this championship twice. Has just won an epic 12th rack to go a couple clear of Emil Gangflow. 7-5 now to the Austrian. Wasn't a great deal of confidence in the way that was struck, Scott.
No, they've been missing these cuts to the thin edge. You know, at your club table back home, you're thinking that the ball might grab a little bit, right, in the back of your mind, traditionally. So these guys don't play every day on new cloth. New cloth, polished balls, the ball is going to cut quite a bit easier. Filipinos have been known to swerve a ball like this 6 in. He might be leveled out just chopping it. Wow, how thin can you hit it? He's lost the white in the lower left.
Green 6 leading a charmed life over that corner pocket just now, but not for much longer. And what a golden chance now for MANAS to finally get back to that position he was in earlier on in the match of being a couple clear. Well, he had fallen 3-2 behind in this match, but it's been 4 out of 5 since then now for AJ MANAS. He needs 3 more, even 2-1 against Bui Trong An. As we come back to the main table, what's happened here? Come up dry.
Yeah, the 1 low. Once again, the cue ball finishing low. Just getting the kiss off the bottom of the balls. Nothing really jumping out at me here. It might pass the 3 in the upper right. There's a lot of defensive options, but the 2 laying over this lower right corner. Yeah, as Michael mentioned earlier, just doesn't seem like there is any rhythm really to either side yet. That can change, obviously.
Yeah, it feels at the moment like one of those where someone's going to fall over the line and be relieved to have got away with it, and the other one will be more disappointed in having just failed to show up on the day, really, than necessarily. But that's another poor one, you have to say, from MANAS.
Yeah, obviously straight into the face of the 8. Alexis with a real reasonable look here with an open table. Just about getting on the 3. And that is a trick from here. Don't want to crash into the 5, and then the 8 becomes big. I think you might have to take a steeper look on the 3 to ensure a shot. Can kill this out past the 6 with an inside ball. Yeah, Filipino's the best in the world at that shot there. Soft hands, dragging the cue ball.
Well, it's hard not to see this as a bit of a must-make for Ferrer, really. Sort of chance he was eating up when he won that tournament in Vietnam a couple of weeks ago, and well, I mean, that just tells the whole story of the match for him, and it's not turned out perhaps as badly there as he might have hoped, but really, if he can take an opportunity like that in a match where he's got to turn it around from a couple of racks behind, it's hard to see a great amount of hope.
Yeah, for Alexis, that's reminiscent of game number 1 when he came up a little bit short off of the 8. It was a similar shot there. In game number 1, he missed the 9. And now he's missed the 5. Great effort, to be fair. Gives you an idea how small the pockets really are. Is he snookered? He is looking away from the line. It tells me he's snookered. The 8 must be bigger than we think. My goodness, does he have to swerve around the left side of this 8?
Looks like it, and of course, your guess is as good as mine what the cue ball will do if he does make the pot.
How about absolutely perfect? He has overspun it, caught the opposite side of the 5 than what we expected.
But again, not for the first time in the match. It looks as though Ferrer might get away with making a bad mistake. Swiftly back in. From that chance, he's down to only 8 and 9 to get back to only 1 behind.
Weak again, kind of a blind ball now. This is missable. Just, I don't know, and expected. He's come up way short. This is a must make.
And there's so much pressure on it. Well, if he missed that, he was facing the prospect of the biggest deficit that either.
That's the best hit we've seen, really. And he's going to get a reward. The 3. I believe it does still play in the lower right. Watch the cue ball flush into the 9. That is the goal. obviously getting the 1 down. I believe the 3 does play to the lower right. The 4 will help you. Just pinch back a couple of feet would be ideal. And caught the inside of the 2 there. This becomes much thinner. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's so thin. It's going to be close, actually, and the pink is going to be moving pretty good. Made it look fairly easy. Does have a pocket to the lower right, I believe. Yeah, and look at the body language. It's close, extremely close. He's going to have to probably go forward, which makes the make a little more difficult. I don't think he can hold the cue ball. Oh, he had no problem holding it.
Again, ordinarily you would say, hard to see much that can go wrong here. But we've seen a number of racks in this match that looked to be heading one way and then ended up going the other after a late stumble. So let's not mark this one down just yet.
Match gives the feeling of a 9-8 finish either way.
So he looked like he might be falling 3 behind just a few minutes ago, but got off the hook in rack 11. And he's followed it with a pretty good rack 12. Alexis Ferrer and Alexis Ferrer level at 6-all. Ferrer to break.
And a tester out of the gate. The 1 just rattles out of the side. Got the 2 down, but distance. I think you've just got to put all the focus into dropping the 1. If you can get to the left side of the table, the coast is clear. I think the cue ball will float past the 6 using a high ball. Tough shot to start out. Yep, and this seems to be the case. They continue to miss the cuts thin when they miss them. He's got options. Does he stay aggressive or does he come down behind the 9? Aggressive paid off.
Just to bring you some news from elsewhere, Shane Van Boning, who was beaten last night, will be starting his campaign on the loser side this evening, and that will be the first match of the evening session on the main table. SVB against Rogelio Sotero of the Philippines. MANAS has already done pretty well in one of the big matchroom events this year. At the UK Open in May, Some good wins there. Skylar Woodward was among them, actually. And he eventually went out in the last 32 against 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥𝐢.
Yeah, he's creeped past position here. Just has to check the cue ball with outside. Makes it look so easy when things are working.
Yeah, I was just about to add that bit. There's been times today when it's looked anything but easy, but you're absolutely right in what you say, that it just looks so effortless to him and so natural when he's flowing. Almost as if he's a little bit distracted by something because he doesn't have to put full concentration in.
We've never had that problem, Michael.
And so, MANAS hits the front again. He leads Alexis Ferrer now, but only 2 away now.
And the cue ball low. Again, will he get a look at the blue? I don't know. I'll tell you what, he likes to gamble at times. He did bank the ball last game, and it paid off. Does he take the jump cue out here? Is there value? Jump cue it is. Never a better time than now to bury this 2-ball. Wow. That's going to open things up quite nicely for MANAS. Break and run at this point would be ideal to get him to the hill.
You saw a lot of them at the Premier League in Sarajevo earlier in the year. Scott didn't do as well as he would have hoped. Finished in second last position, actually. 4 wins from his 15 matches. But did you make any observations about him there, and whether or not all those matches in quick succession against good players were proving a good learning curve for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the pace he plays. I don't think it changes anything for him. But at times, he just gets a little quick when he's down on the ball, and it doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency with that. And I think that as time goes on with him, and I say it, I think in 3 years, there's a real good chance of him being the best player on the planet.
Well, he's not really looked all that good at any point in this match, has he? But he has in this rack. And he's taken care of it in very short order. A very timely break and run for AJ MANAS, and all of a sudden, with 2 in a row.
Loosen the arm up. Short with the 1. Nothing down here. And an open look once again for Alexis Ferrer.
Should say the exception to that, of course, is Shane Van Boening, because so often at tournaments you see him putting in mammoth practice sessions that nobody else does. Don't think he'd ever leave if they just left the place open all night.
Yeah, it's well said, actually. And once again, I think it's still to keep that arm loose for Shane. He's just one of those, he is an absolute machine. He did something at the PLP at Jason Shaw's pool room in Connecticut 2 years ago that I don't think any of us have ever seen. Shane Van Boening spent somewhere around 10 hours each day during the event in the main room practicing the whole event. He ended up winning, but by the end, he was pretty drained.
Yeah, and if there's one event where you really need to conserve energy, it's that one, because you play so many matches and they come so close together. Okay, back to this. Alexis Ferrer has got one last chance here to prolong this contest. Having been 2 behind at 6-4, he had drawn level at 6-all. He's lost 2 in a row now. If he is to come through this contest, he's going to have to win 3 straight racks. But he has done that already in this match a little earlier.
Yeah, And once again, he struggled with the high ball so far in this match, and it started early in game number 1 on the 8, short on the 9. It's caused him problems all throughout the match, is the high ball. Watch out, 9 now. Watch out, 9.
That shot is so typical of so much of what we've seen in this match.
Every time he's used a high cue ball, Michael, it's bit him when he's come up short. Game number 1, I think game number 4. It's happened several different times throughout the match. Could have been worse. Yeah, and I don't think you play the 9 here, but you just never know with this young man. Job. You'd like to use a high ball here, I think, and just stick. Try and create some type of distance. Maybe short rail. A short rail would be ideal. Sending the 6 towards the right side. Have the proper speed. Or does he just ram it with a low ball?
MANAS just looking for that one chance he needs to get it done, put the performance out of his mind, and move on to facing 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥 in the next round.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he looking to the upper right? I feel like the upper left might be. Oh, look at this, the two-way play, using the 8 as well. Lifted his hand up, kind of like he got away with it. But listen, I'm straight in the heart. Ball's away. I'd say he's finished quite well if he can get out here. The last few games by MANAS has been pretty consistent. How about that strike?
Yeah, well, that's the last memory, isn't it? How you finish out the match, and you're absolutely right. He can take that away from it. It looks as though he's going to get there now. And you said earlier on that it looked 9-8 all over. I completely agreed at the time. It was that sort of a match. But from 6-all, it looks as though MANAS is going to put together a decent dash for the line. Alexis Ferrer is a much better player than what we've seen today. But he will go to the loser side. AJ MANAS will go through to face the world number 2, 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐥. MANAS is the winner by 9 racks to 6.